Hi everyone, my name is Lin Huyen. I'm the founder and host of Fan to Fame. We're here today with one of the best collegiate hockey player in the country these past seasons while at Penn State, and is currently a professional player with the San Diego Gulls, which is an affiliate of the Anaheim Ducks of the NHL. Please help me welcome professional hockey star Alex Limoges. How you doing, Alex?
Hey, Lynn, thanks a lot for having me.
No problem, man. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name too much. I think there's a little French right there.
That's right. That's perfect. I actually think that's the best anybody's ever said it, or especially this year. So.
Good stuff. Well, hey, man, being from Winchester, it's always nice to see folks like yourself who's really representing not only the town, but for folks that's from a small town like ourselves from Winchester. I first heard about you back during our annual festival, the Apple Blossom Festival, and you went on stage and kind of shared your story. And ever since then, I've been following you. Honestly, when I think about professional players coming out of Winchester, that is hard to believe as itself. But I think thinking about hockey, that's not a sport that's really big in our area. How did it all start for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the closest rink to Winchester is like 45, 50 minutes away. So, I was born in Colorado and moved to Texas when I was about 2, 3 years old. And, so I kind of started on skates around there. My dad had played hockey professionally and all throughout his life. So, it's been something I said all my life. It's kind of hockey's in the blood. As soon as I could walk, he put me on skates and I fell in love with it. So it's been something I've prioritized ever since I could really skate.
I know your dad played professionally. Was he in the NHL or what league did he play?
No, he played in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Way back when. So
that's pretty cool. So that was definitely around you. So you kind of had no choice. It was always around you growing up.
Yeah, no choice at all. I tried some other sports, but nothing like hockey.
Being from the DC area, I mean, we're about an hour and a half away. Did you follow DC sports, or who did you idolize growing up?
Yeah, as soon as I moved to Virginia, it was Caps all the way.
Okay.
So, that's a big Caps fan growing up, and the other sports I kind of vary a little bit, but I make a lot of Redskins fans angry when I tell them I'm a Cowboys fan. And,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big Skins fan, watching football team fan, as you can tell. But end of the day, man, it's whatever you root for is fine with me. We're both struggling in some capacity.
Yeah.
So you end up going to Penn State for your collegiate career. You had a dominant career all 4 years there. What led you there?
It was a crazy journey for hockey, but a lot of travel. I moved away when I was 14 years old. So I think it was a long time coming just to try and get close to home again. Mm-hmm. That was a big thing. I was committed to Cornell originally, and then things fell through there. And so second time around, I found Penn State, and they found me, and it was just kind of a perfect fit. It was unbelievable facilities, 3 hours from home, which is the closest I'd been for a while. And great academics too, and a great hockey program. So it was the perfect fit for me. I think that was one of the best decisions I made in my life.
I think for any student athlete, it's always kind of hard to balance between academics and the sports. But yeah, Penn State, like you said, they definitely have the recognition for both. And while you're there, you garnered, honestly, like any types of awards you can think of. You led the nation scoring 50 points your sophomore year. I believe you won the Big Ten your junior year, was named captain this past year during your senior year, which I'm sure there was a lot of obstacles this year because it was kind of like a season that was really strange for I think a lot of people, or a strange year for anybody. But then you capped off your career with 125 points, which is third all-time in Penn State history. How would you recap your time at Penn State, and what would you attribute your success to?
That's a tough question right there. I don't think I can recap it in a single sentence or paragraph, honestly. And that's something I need to actually start working on, is like kind of something for the hockey program, like a testimonial, or just like my experience the past 4 years. So we'll see that in a couple months. But honestly, it was just such an unbelievable time, and like in the locker room, outside the locker room. But I think the environment there to work and get better. I was always surrounded by a good group of guys, and within that, I found some guys who really, had their motivations to play pro hockey, and I kind of, when they were older and I was younger, I kind of clung on to them and followed them around and did what they did, extra work on the ice, off the ice, and stuff like that. So I think that played a huge part in how I became so successful there.
A lot of folks, when you play at a high school level, going to college is totally different. I think you're usually like the face of your team, but then when you go somewhere else, it's kind of hard to do the same success as you were before. And even you as a professional star, which we'll talk a little bit more. So when I saw all the accomplishments that you're doing, it wasn't that you're just playing. You're literally leading the team, leading the country, which I think is great for any young athletes to look up to. So thinking about this past year, it was a tough year for everybody, but I would think as an athlete, it's one of those things where you kind of have to practice what you do, right? It's like for you as a hockey player, for there to be a halt in the season, what was your mindset to kind of stay ready and kind of keep that grind throughout the different obstacles that you had to face throughout the season?
That's a good question, because it really got hard there. With such a successful junior year that our team had, or my junior year, and our team that we won the Big Ten in the regular season, we felt that we had the pieces to go a long way, and that was tough to say goodbye to. But obviously, it kind of starts the fire for all summer, coming back and picking up where we left off. But with just a younger team and lost a lot of big pieces, so it was just so hard to keep your mind ready for that long. Mm-hmm. We kind of trained our bodies to know exactly how long our off season should be, and right. We add a couple months onto that, and when you're peaking, when the normal season's there, but to add, to keep your body in it and keep your mind in it was really challenging. So came out and we had a slow start, went 0-5, and kind of regrouped from there, won the next 7 or 9 games or something like that. But it definitely does a lot mentally when you add that extra time there.
What are some things you kind of maybe learned or kind of use your time away from the hockey? Because I think you guys had a halt around February, I believe, during your season, around that time frame. So without having to be able to skate, I think for a lot of folks, you kind of reflect on, your life or where you're at. How did you use that time?
I think the one thing that the pandemic that was, I used it well for was spending time with my family.
Right.
I'm normally home for a couple of weeks each summer, so I got to get
gone most of the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I actually gained quite a bit of weight staying off the ice, so that was another challenge to kind of overcome. But no, it was kind of a blessing in disguise where I could relax and get back to neutral, and like you said, kind of prioritize things and where I want to be and how I'm going to get there.
So you recently wrapped up your senior season. Again, a great career that you had at Penn State. You'll be probably a Hall of Fame. I'm just going to call it one day, the Penn State athletics. But you recently also wrapped up your first professional season with San Diego Gulls, which is the affiliate of the Anaheim Ducks. How was that experience like? And was there any surprises when you look back on what were you expecting versus what kind of came out of it?
It was unbelievable. I love the experience. I keep telling everybody the only thing I wish different was that I had a car when I went out there.
Okay. California's it's a long state. You kind of need a car out there. It's tough. Yeah.
Great. No, it's especially getting a car from the East Coast. So I'm going to do that this year for sure, because once I got there, it was cool. They took care of me. They put me in a hotel for a bit, and then they actually found me a house later, and was just paying for the Ubers from the rink to the hotel. So I couldn't really explore the beach too much or go shopping or anything really to go out there. But that had been something I'd worked my entire life for, is to become a professional athlete, and that was cool. I lived part of my dream this end of the year, and I don't know what I was expecting, but it was all that and more. I absolutely love my experience, and I'm ready, and I'm motivated to go back next year and hopefully get a chance to play in the NHL. But this year I learned so much, and it's crazy going from college and being the captain and
Right.
top, kind of like you said, going out of high school where you're the go-to guy, and then now you're on this new team and your eyes are kind of wide open. And
Right.
um, it was a fun, also challenging time, but I embraced the opportunity. I had it in my mind that every opportunity I get, I need to make the most of it. So
Right.
I think I did a pretty good job at that, and hopefully earned some respect and some extra ice time for next year. But that's something that I'm gonna have to re-earn it when it comes this fall.
You kind of hit on it a little bit, but what is your near term and what would you say your long term goal?
Playing the NHL. That's every kid's dream.
Right.
Uh, Growing up, I want to be playing in NHL. I want to be like those superstars that have been there since they're 18, 19. Um, it's crazy. I'm pretty much a step away if you
Right.
count leagues. So it's really cool. I love where I'm at right now. I think I'm in a great spot, um, and I still have I've always kind of been the underdog at every level, stepping up. I get the same feedback every time, but I always take it, keep working, and end up proving people wrong. So I think that's it. It's just kind of not getting frustrated and knowing that I can still achieve my dream.
You kind of talked about feedback. What is the feedback you typically get to get to the next level? And what are some things you're working on right now to get there?
Yeah, my footwork, my speed, every level since high school.
Mhm.
Uh, it's been all right. Is he fast enough? Okay, like he can make plays, but is he going to keep up with the game? And so um, I'm used to that. I know that's what they're going to say, so it's fun because I've been preparing and doing everything I can every summer with that. So um, I think it's good. I know what I need to work on. I know how to work on it. So it's just putting in that time, and hopefully soon that they realize that I can keep up,
Right.
and that I can push the pace at sometimes. So
I think for anyone, it's always acknowledging and being receptive to feedback. But I mean, like you said, at every level you kind of play that, you prove people wrong. So I have no question in mind that you're going to do the same thing once you do make it to NHL. So I'm really looking forward to that. Is there any current players or any former players that you would compare your game to?
yeah, um, I think this is really tough for me to answer. I've always been um, I've always used kind of what other people think of my game. Uh, and there's a couple guys like Nick Bonino, um, who's been pretty much a third line center role his whole life, but he's played many years and has had a lot of success. So he's one of the dependable guys on every team that he's on, and that's what I want to be. I want to be used in all situations and stuff like that. But a new one that was kind of brought up to me a couple weeks ago from Coach Godowski at Penn State. He said that I looked like Mark Stone
Okay.
on Vegas. So I thought that was pretty
That's a
cool.
good
I never
comparison.
thought of myself. Yeah, hair and everything. But
Yeah.
no, I thought that was pretty cool. So since then, I've been kind of watching him throughout the playoffs, and of course, he's a hell of a player.
Going back to the previous question, because we kind of talked about some of the feedback you received and some of the things you're working on, but what are your strengths, you'd say, that you bring to the table?
Yeah, I think I'm a smart hockey player
Mhm.
who can make plays in traffic. I think that's a big thing. Is where
That's important.
yeah, exactly. That's how you score, and you got to be able. Everybody can make plays when they have time. So I think that's a big thing, especially at the next level. It's so fast. There's always a guy on you, and so it's been good to kind of translate that and use my puck protection as well, to kind of hang on and create a little more time. But yeah, I think making plays in traffic and protecting the puck, and kind of being around the net. I guess I love scoring those tap in kind of greasy goals.
Right.
Yeah.
I think all those right there will definitely score you a position somewhere within the league. Those are definitely integral for any
I
player.
hope so. Right now, there's a 32nd team, so a couple more jobs opening up.
That's true. That's true. Speaking of teams, and with the midst of us being in the NHL playoff right now, who do you have winning it?
That's a good. That's yeah. A lot of surprises with Montreal.
Yeah.
That's impressive. You know, my family actually asked like kind of who are the 4 teams coming out of their brackets, and I actually had Winnipeg, but my dad is a huge Montreal fan, and so that's another team I grew up watching. So it's fun to see them have success, and of course Cole Caulfield is on that team and got to play against him the past couple of years. So
Nice.
it's fun to see him have success and do what he does. Otherwise, Tampa is very, very strong, and
Yeah.
that's tough. That's a good question. I think Islanders, Boston, they're always going to compete. But Colorado, I think that'd be fun to see them kind of win it all this year. They've been good for so long and
Right.
got a couple studs. So that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be nice to change for sure. Of course, I was rooting for the Caps, but I feel like every year it's the same story over and over again. But we did have a couple years ago we won the Stanley Cup, so that was cool.
I actually was getting all the flashbacks or stuff like that, saying like, was it yesterday, a couple years ago, that they won?
3 years ago, right? When we won.
Yeah. So, flashbacks. Now they're golfing, and tough.
Yeah. I like to think we have to give everyone else a try.
Yeah, we had our fun.
We had our fun. Yeah. You kind of talked about playing with current players right now, and I'm sure you're engaged with a lot of them. I mean, being a professional star, you're around that. Is there any advice you've heard from folks that's played in NHL or currently in NHL?
It's a good question. I mean, like my head coach out in San Diego, Kevin Deneen, played a long career in the NHL, and so he's been giving me a lot of feedback, as well as the assistant coaches who have had pretty successful careers. But that's pretty cool because he was kind of a similar player to me, I think. And he, knows how to have success and stay in the NHL for a long time. So I really valued what he was telling me, and even some of the other guys on the team actually, because they've had some NHL games under their belt, and so I was just taking everything in, and it's fun to see different perspectives from players to coach to scouts or whatever, and all those guys have done it. So they know what works, and they know how to get there.
So this comes to like the final question. You kind of touched on this as well. I think something that's really important for anyone, especially young athletes, is just a lot of times you don't have that individual who's done it, or you have a reach to them. And I think that plays a big deal, because if you have someone that you can kind of get advice from, someone that's been through it, it's always going to be helpful. So for you, someone who had a dominant career in college, is playing professionally right now, probably on the tip of the ice, about to make it to the NHL, what advice would you give to someone that's trying to get like a D1 scholarship to play hockey and then make it professionally? What are some advice you share?
I think there's a lot of things that could help. It's tough to just pick one, especially coming out of high school or Winchester. It's kind of like a smaller fish tank, where you've been competing against the same kids your whole life, pretty much. You don't really know what else is out there or who else is out there. So it's tough. I think you need to go get that exposure and really see how big their respective sport world is. But at the same time, you can't get comfortable being the top player. That's not good enough in high school. It's not good enough in middle school. So it's not good enough in college either. You need to have that drive, and we kind of touched on it. The mentality is a big thing. Always eager to learn, eager to work harder. There's always somebody out there who's going to be trying to take your spot. And the second you stop working, then might be the second they will. So I know for me in college, I was very competitive within my own team. I always wanted to be leading in everything, whether it's the start of the drill or just leading in points or whatever like that. So always wanted to be last one out of the gym too, or one of the last ones out of the gym. I'd say there are a couple of beats there, but yeah, you just got to get competitive and open your mind to all that feedback too. Pretty much everything we talked about, but you know, not one thing can kind of go under the radar. They're all small components that really help out and can make your career.
No, those are good advice. Like you said, it's just kind of staying at it, stay mental, and don't be complacent, because the second you do, you're going to be set behind.
Yeah, exactly. That's a tough one for people.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
But yeah, that's right. You gotta figure out how to stay active, stay eager to learn. So I guess stay hungry. You know.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Alex, it's a pleasure talking to you. Being from not only Virginia, but from Winchester, I'm always going to root for you. And I know you're going to be a future star in NHL. So don't forget us small people once you make it big time even more.
No. Always remember your roots. But thanks, Lynn, for having me. I had a blast.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.